Alright, so this is the demonstration video for setting up your Elements of Art booklets. This is going to be for the cover and for the concept of line and shape. We're going to do all 7 elements eventually, but we're just going to cover these first 2 today. Okay? So the cover I have here, we yesterday set up the booklet together. You should have one page here in the front, second page here, a third page, and then the back cover would be the 4th page. Okay, so we are going to start with the cover here. The cover is pretty much going to be whatever you want it to be. Now, I will have some colors for you at your table. Every day maybe we'll have a different material for you to use. So you use what's available to design. So your cover can be whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to label my cover here very simply. Okay, just Elements of Art there, and I'm going to maybe put my name down here so I know that it's my book. Okay, real simple, real easy. Now if you want to add more decoration, you'll have more time than I just took with your cover, but you need to have some way of knowing that this is the Elements of Art for your cover. So you want to do fancy letters. You want to do some color on there, maybe every letter a different color. You'll have the ability to do that. But right now I'm just going simple here. Okay, and then we open up the booklet and we see immediately page 1 and 2. And we can label those at the bottom if we want to, or you can do at the top wherever you want. So you label those, and 1 is going to be the concept of line, which is the first vocabulary word we learned. My handwriting's not very good, and maybe I should use something a little darker. Let me see if I can switch to a Sharpie here real quick, see if this will work. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. And then the next page, the second page opposite of that, is going to be shape. Okay, and now you can set these up however you want. Let me stress that. If you want to put the word in the center and have all the concepts around, you can. If you want to put the word at the bottom, or if you want to have it going down the side, L-I-N-E down the side, however you want to design this is up to you. But you need to have the idea that this page is for line and this page is for shape. I usually do things fairly straightforward and simple. That's just kind of how I am. But again, this is going to be your book, so you set it up how you want. You just need to show these concepts. Now for line, we're going to show different types of line. Okay, so the types of line I want you to show, and you can think of any types of line you want to. We have, let's see, I can do a curly line where it's kind of curly. I can do a zigzag line where it has sharp points. I can do a horizontal line where it's up and down. I can do, or sorry, that's vertical, right? I misspoke. I can do a vertical line. I can do a horizontal line. Okay, so there's 4 types of line right there. I can do a diagonal line. I can do a dotted or a dashed line. I can do a dotted line where dots in a row make up a line. And I like to put the arrows on the ends of my lines just to show that they could go in whatever direction. Okay. I can do a thick line, so maybe I want to draw 2 lines that are parallel and then color in between the lines. Okay, so I do a thicker line. Any type of line that you can think of can go here. Okay, you can make up your own kinds of line. So these are just a few examples of different types of lines. So anything you can think of can go there. And then for shape, on the next side, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to show examples, visual examples of what a shape is. So maybe start with something simple like a circle. Maybe I'll go triangle, square, Those are the three most basic kind of shapes that I can think of. Then you can get into more complicated shapes, like maybe if you want to do a 4-point diamond or some kind of a trapezoid, you can do that. You can do oval. Let's see, what else? Maybe a rectangle. That's a good shape. So there, I could probably fill up this space with 30, 40, 50 different shapes. There are almost an infinite number of shapes that I could use. So put some shapes there for that. So we've got line, we've got shape for our elements of art, and one more thing I want you to start thinking in terms of. We haven't covered this yet, but this is a pretty simple concept. We'll turn over to the next page, and I'll label this one 3 down at the bottom. And if you get this far today, that's great. If you don't get this far, it's not a big deal because this will be on tomorrow's also. I'll just kind of recover it. But the next one we're going to try and get to is the word form. F-O-R-M, form. Okay, now a form is a three-dimensional shape. So this kind of gets into that idea of how do you make something look three-dimensional on a flat surface. You have to create an illusion. So what I usually start with is something simple. A sphere is probably the simplest one. So you draw a circle to start, and then you draw a curved line that shows like the equator of the circle that goes down, and then a little dashed line that goes up, and you can kind of see that that dashed line is sort of invisible, but it's still there, and that dashed line represents the other side of the equator on that sphere. And then I go ahead and usually do something similar to that with a cone, which starts with a open upside down V, line curving down, and then dashed line curving up. Another form I like to do is a cylinder. So I start with an oval, and then from each side come down with parallel lines, curved line down to connect them, curved line up, or dashed line up to connect it there. Okay, so some simple forms there. Pyramid's another one that's good. You start with the 3 lines like this. Maybe you draw the center one a little bit longer, and then you really just need the 3 lines. You don't even have to add a third. If you want to add a third invisible line, you can go straight across the back with that to show that it's more solid. So there's some simple forms for you. Cube is always the hardest one. Everyone always says, how can I do a cube? So basically what I tell you to do is start out with a square. Okay? And then you're going to turn it into a table that's been flipped on its side. So you're going to go from this corner, you're going to draw a diagonal line, and then parallel lines from the other 2 corners. So it looks like a table that's kind of turned over onto its side. And you're going to connect the backs of the legs, just like that. Now if you want to make it solid, this is solid. If you want to make it transparent, all you have to do is add that 4th table leg and then connect those dots in the back just like that. Okay, if you can't do that and that's too confusing, just leave it solid. Don't make it transparent. Okay, so there's some basic forms for you. I'm not going to go on and do some of the more complex ones because I don't want to confuse you too much. I think I've given you enough to attempt today. So today, starting with the cover, and mine is very simple. I hope yours is much more decorated than mine. Okay, and then line is our first concept. So line there. Shape here is our second concept. That's page 2. And you can fill it up with different, I just kind of breeze through it pretty quick. And then form is our third concept. And we're drawing a few forms in there. Okay, so try to get those 3 as much today, maybe a little bit tomorrow as you can.